call to order the Santa Cruz Library Facilities Financing Authority. Can we have a roll call, please?
Martin Bernal.
Here.
Jamie Goldstein.
Here.
Carlos Palacios.
Here.
Jenny Hauriyama, Chair.
Here. Are there any additions or deletions to today's agenda?
I have none.
None? Okay. And oral communication, would anyone like to address the board? Okay, seeing none, let's move to our one item that we have for general business, for supplement to the amended and restated joint exercise powers agreement for the LFFA. Do you have a staff report?
I have Nicole Colburn from the county.
So we were here back at the beginning of August when I provided an oral update on where we're at with Measure S revenues. At the time, I had been working with our financial advisor, Suzanne Harrell, to look at what might be possible in terms of the additional ongoing taxes and bond proceeds that we might be able to distribute to jurisdictions. And we came up with an additional $15.5 million that we estimated, which is a combination of both bond proceeds and annual taxes. That's a 25% increase in the distributions that would be available over time. So we've worked with Bond Council to draft a first supplement to the amended and restated joint exercise of powers agreement, which is in the agenda packet. The only real modifications in the first supplement are increasing the maximum amounts. And on the second page of the staff report, there's a table that shows the original maximum amounts by jurisdiction and then the modified maximum amounts, which increase everyone's distribution by 25%. So the percentages shown at the right of the table remain the same. On an ongoing basis, PAYGO would be distributed based on these percentages. If there's any PAYGO net of bond proceeds, debt service that have to be paid. So what we are asking is for you to recommend approval of the First Amendment to the governing bodies of each of your jurisdictions so that they can take up this first supplement and approve it. And then at that point, once it goes through all the jurisdictions, it would be final and we would be able to start working on modifying the budget and prepare for upcoming bond issuances.
My hope would be that we could bring these in front of all jurisdictions in the month of September.
Are there any questions of Nicole?
So we would be preparing a distribution plan over the next, maybe at our next meeting, we'd be looking at a draft.
I would hope to be able to bring a distribution plan, at least a draft in October. I need to I've already started to talk to each of the jurisdictions. I know when you need probably your money, Jamie, although maybe there's some flexibility about PAYGO versus bond proceeds.
Yeah, we have a little bit, I mean,
Right.
we're moving forward with construction, but, we don't need the money today,
Right.
soon, but there is some flexibility there, I think.
But I'm going to be meeting with the city of Santa Cruz. I need some clarification just on the timing of their library projects, and then they might need bonds.
Okay.
That'll be important, and Scotts Valley the same. I need to get that information so I can work on a cash flow with Suzanne.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Nicole? Are there any comments from the public on this item?
Excuse me, good morning. My name is Glenn Hanna and I live in Pleasure Point. And I want to speak to the issue of the proposal and the $15 million increase in parcel tax revenue because of higher than planned. Very infrequently in the political area do you get a chance to correct a mistake. I believe that the allocations of the original Measure S are grotesquely unfair. from a political aspect. Why should the city of Capitola residents get 6 times, or 4 times the amount of money from the sale of the bonds than the county, than the average? In other words, the apportionment of the revenue is not equal among the residents. It's grotesquely skewed in favor of Capitola and the city of Santa Cruz. And when you allocate the newfound $15 million of additional revenue on the same basis as the original, you are amplifying a problem that was inequitable, to say the very least. So there are 2 ways we have a marvelous opportunity. The first thing we could do is, if we've got a 25% increase in the anticipated revenue over the life of the bonds, we can shrink the payout period of the bonds by 20% and still have a cushion. So instead of having a 30-year bond, we can have a 25-year bond. The other thing we can do is, and I don't favor that, that is, I believe, the best solution, to spend another $15 million on the basis that, well, costs have gone up. I would remind everyone that the library board spent $275,000 3 years ago, had all the consultants in the world to look at our facilities plans, and came up and said $62 million is satisfactory to fund all of our foreseeable needs. This number has now gone up from 62 million to 77. Now, obviously, costs have gone up minorly, maybe 10%, but 10% is not 25%. So I think you should consider shortening the payout of the bonds. On the second issue of whether the city of Santa Cruz should loan money to the library system, from the library board's perspective, that is a solution. However, I don't believe that the city of Santa Cruz should be the unilateral bidder on that. They, as they assert, they can make in their LAIF and short-term borrowings 2%, and they can forego that money and instead loan it to the library board. And from their perspective, that's fine. They'll make some additional money, and the library will have a lower rate than the 7.25% that they're charged by the state, by PERS. So I would suggest that each of the entities, all of the cities, including Watsonville and the county, be allowed, if the board decides that they want to borrow $500,000 or $600,000, whatever the number is, money from the short-term funds, that each of the other entities have a chance to bid on it, so we have a competitive bid. Let me just conclude by saying, from the perspective of the political entities in our county, Measure S, the original $62 million distribution of parcel tax proceeds is grotesquely unfair. On a per resident basis, why should the city of Capitola receive 4 times as much money as the residents of the county? In politics, we have very few chances to redo a mistake. We have now the opportunity. It seems absolutely unconscionable to spend an extra $15 million when, in fact, if we take, if we go back to the original 62 million and take a look at the construction costs and all the various increases that have occurred in 2 or 3 years, it can be 10%. But that's still a lot of money, and coupled with all the other things, it just makes no sense. So I urge you to, one, review the length of the bonding period, and two, if you're going to loan, if the board, library board wants to borrow money from the entities, the political entities in the county, I think this should be done on a competitive basis and let each of the other entities that have apparently extra cash liquidity make a bid. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Do you have any questions at this point?
I guess just, do other board members have scheduled times to bring this to city councils?
Yes.
Yes, I'm planning on bringing it on 13th.
Ours would be the 19th.
25th. And what extent do you need staff there?
Probably not.
No.
So, does that work?
Our last meeting is on the 25th in September, so.
So 25th is okay.
And then we have a meeting on October 3rd, so we could then have a discussion.
Okay, well, I was going to say, I think this is, as we discussed last time around, I think it's a really good thing to be able to address the needs of the library system, given the gaps that we all face. The one thing I did want to notice that the original facilities master plan identified over $80 million of needs. So the actual original bond measure did not have actually enough. So we always knew that we were going to have a gap with all our projects. And then with the bidding environment that we have now, it's even gotten bigger. So this is actually maybe only addresses in part one of those items. So it's actually a very good thing. And then with respect to the allocation formula, we worked really hard to come up with a system that balanced a variety of different issues relative to the needs of the facilities, the types of facilities, and the different allocations of different communities. And so I think it's a good approach. I would move that we move forward with the staff recommendations.
Okay. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none? Passes?
I really would like to recognize Nicole's work on this. She's been working very hard.
Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, so that adjourns LFFA, and we will